The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Dr. Jerry Corsi is our guy. Doc, I got your book on Hitler, too. I'm about halfway through it. I just wanted to tell you that.
Hope you like it, Peter.
I'm really enjoying it. I'm going to give it to a friend of mine, and then we'll talk.
Okay.
I remember, by the way, he's a Ph.D. from Harvard. He writes numbers of books. He has been attacked by people for as long as I've known him, and I've known him a decade. And when we began to speak about just who is this 44th President of the United States, Barack Obama, and he was one of the first guys that I heard, hey, talk to Jerry Corsi. And, of course, out of that comes Joel Gilbert and so many other people. And I remember, Doc, I think it was like maybe 3.5, 4 years ago, the first time you said, and you had been to Hawaii, and they were really like they treated you in Africa. And you said to me, Peter, there's a new last name. If you would tell the audience what that new last name was, I believe you discovered it first.
Yeah, I think I was one of the first to make it public. The Ann Dunham, who's the mother of Obama, on one of her passport applications when she was in Indonesia, when Obama was a child, a very young child, maybe 4 years old, 10 years old in this span, she applies to essentially, she's removing the name of her child, removing Barack Obama from her passport and getting him his own passport. In those days, a mother could have a child put on her passport instead of giving the child a separate passport, and she changes the name of Barack Obama to Soebarkah, which is an Indonesian name, Soebarkah, and the form crosses this out, which the form indicates you're supposed to do if, in fact, you're removing the child from your passport, and it's clear that from this that Barry Obama, or now Barry Soetoro, the president, as a child, was given somehow or other this Indonesian surname, which strongly suggests that he was given Indonesian citizenship, probably adopted. Mm-hmm. And, of course, it was a relevant issue in eligibility because it could have compromised Barack Obama's eligibility to be president.
Absolutely. Now, what's important, and then we'll push it further.
Yes.
When you first said that, and it's pronounced Soebarkah, is that how it's pronounced?
Soebarkah, yeah, that's
Soebarkah.
how I've been pronounced.
Okay. Soebarkah. That's how they say, Indonesians say Soebarkah.
Right.
And I've gotten some email this morning saying you're mispronouncing the name, and I'm totally capable of that, so with apologies. So it's soy. The E is strong, Soebarkah.
That's how I've been taught to say it. I don't know that, yes,
okay.
I don't know enough Indonesian to know.
So when that happened, and Jerry became the worst human being in the history of talk radio. As I say, we were Nazis, we were Klansmen, we were bigots, we were racist, we were this, we were that, we're this, we're that. I added silver shirts this morning just to put an edge on it, right? But we were everybody. And because this never happened, there was no Soebarkah character. So now, what has turned up?
Well, this association, after Loretta Fuddy died, this religious group, they're often called a sect, which is a Subud, S-U-B-U-D.
That's how that's pronounced as well? I've been saying...
Subud. It's like S-O-E-B-O-O-D is how you say it.
All right, let me write that down.
Subud. Seems to be Subud is how they say it, Subud.
Okay. All right, gotcha.
And it's named after a
guy, right?
Indonesian Muslim named Muhammad, et cetera, Subud, who created this. He was born in 1901. He died in 1987, and he created this cult, which was a sort of a meditation, although it's a very free-form meditation, in which you're supposed to identify with the God force, and the God force is supposed to give you instructions or center your life. And the Subud members meditate in groups. There's only about 20,000 of them in the world. But Loretta Fuddy, the Hawaii Department of Health head, who's certified, she went into this position like in March 2011, and by April, like within 2 months, she is certifying that Obama's his birth certificate is that they issue in the White House in long form, and on April 27th, 2011, I'm about to publish a book on questioning, where's the real birth certificate?
Where's the birth certificate? I remember that, sure, quite well.
And she is the one who certified it. Well, Subud comes out and says she's a member. In fact, not only was she a member, she was the grand poobah, the grand head of the Subud cult in America for years 2006 through 2008. And to further verify it, researchers very quickly found a Honolulu Advertiser article from 2011 with a picture of Loretta Fuddy meditating at a Subud center. Mm-hmm. And this was, circulated around the Internet very broadly.
What was, if I may, and again, that book, that was a horrible book, Janie Scott's biography.
Yes,
and anybody who read, and I did, A Singular Woman, The Untold Story of Barack Obama's Mother, that became a New York Times bestseller, done by a woman named Janie Scott, and Jack Cashell's an expert on this, but, the whole book is just not true. It's like everything else. But what is the relationship between Barack Obama's mother and the Subud cult and Loretta Fuddy?
Well, Subud comes out and they have a newsletter in 2011, right after Fuddy's appointed, and they're saying, boy, now we've got one of ours in a position to help Obama, and by the way, her mother is associated with Subud and Dunham. And that was kind of an anonymous letter written into this publication, a Subud publication, and published. So it kind of suggested that there was a relationship, and the evidence was this Janie
Scott's book. Yeah, right. She talks about it. Yeah.
Well, she talks about a couple of instances where Ann Dunham appoints Subud members to teaching positions, and it's clear. I also know Wayne Madsen, who was, former naval intelligence, and Wayne is in Washington. He writes a newsletter. Mm-hmm. Wayne spent a month in Indonesia in 2011 tracking down the Obamas. And the Subud cult is one that Ann Dunham had to be aware of in Indonesia. It's unimaginable she didn't know about it. And I think she had sympathy for it because she produces this whole micro banking initiative with Ford in Indonesia and all through that part of the world. At the same time that Subud himself, the founder of the sect, is instituting world banking as an initiative for the group. Mm-hmm. They're just too much on theme together. Yeah. Ann Dunham never affirmed or claimed or, participated actively in the set. I can't find that Ann Dunham participated in any religion actively.
Was she linked to Loretta Fuddy?
I don't know that the two even knew each other.
Right.
It's Subud who's claiming the association.
Well, if the truth, in that Honolulu Advertiser article, Subud comes into Hawaii about the same time that she does.
Well, and, she had to have known about Subud simply because anyone involved with New Age religions at the time, and, one of the people she hired from Subud in Indonesia she was very close to, and this guy was very prominent in Subud. He would have been talking about it all the time. There's no doubt about it. That's his reputation. The key part about it is that the Subud sect changes names. So, for instance, Loretta Fuddy had his new name, Delilah, who nobody ever heard about.
She changes her name, that's right. Yeah.
And so the argument is that if Ann Dunham was coming into this cult, it would have been a opportunity. Ann Dunham changes her name, which has never been explained. She starts spelling her name instead of Soetoro, Sutoro, unexplained. And she changes Barack Obama's name, which is the kind of thing the cult members tend to do.
Yeah, that's true.
Again, that's not proof she was part of the cult. There could be other reasons she changed all these names.
Jerry,
but it is very interesting and very suspicious.
This is one of the best guys. It's 9 after the hour, 7:09. Please go to the website, 710knus.com, and follow along at home. You can see these 1968 apps. Now, as you and the greats have said, Ann's 65 passport, like so many other things, has been destroyed. But if we look at these two, the 68 app that's up on our website, 710knus.com, there's 2 pages.
Yes.
Now, we have Stanley Ann's 68 app to extend her 65 passport, which has been destroyed, for an additional 2 years. That's right. That's the first figure. On the second page of the app, Ann moves to exclude her son.
Correct.
And that's where the name
Soebarkah
shows up.
Yes.
What does it mean?
It means that she was trying to get a separate path.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.